Hey everyone, welcome to Game Dev Mastery. In this video we will be going over how to create a round system that proceeds based on whether or not you have killed all the enemies. Let's get into it. Alright, so first things first, we're going to need a couple different blueprints, right? So let's create an actor. We're going to name that BP underscore enemy. And we're going to create one more actor. And we're going to name that enemy spawner, right? Okay, so in our enemy, let's open that up first. We're going to add a basic cube for this test, right? For this video. And make sure you have the cube clicked. And we're going to add a box collision. Come over here and change it to 80 all the way around. And come back up to the cube, go down to simulate physics and mass, right? Compile, save, and then go back down to the box collision, right click, add event, and add event begin overlap, right? So what we're gonna do is we're gonna cast to BP third person character. The object is gonna be the other actor. And then destroy actor, right? So essentially what's happening is when we overlap this sphere, right, the third person character, the enemy will die. It'll be destroyed. This is the quickest way, most simple way I can think of to kill an enemy for the sake of the tutorial. So I can show you how to make the, round system. Alright, so now, walk over it, it dies. Alright, good enough for now. Go back. We don't actually need to do anything with the enemy spawner. It's more like a placeholder that we will drag and drop, and then the enemy will spawn from it, right? So, let's go ahead and delete that actually. Why not? Go into the third person game mode. And in here, open full blueprint editor. There's a couple different variables we need to create, right? The first one is going to be called round number. This is the number of the round that we're currently on. And it's going to be an integer. We're going to make another one. And it's going to be the enemies to spawn. Okay. Another one. Base enemies to spawn. And I'll show you the difference here in a few minutes. And this one is the increment factor, which is essentially how much we want each level to increase in their enemies. Okay, and then we need one function, right? It'll be called next round. Alright, so let's go back to the event graph. We're going to do two different things here. Event, begin play. We're going to set the round to start. Not set, but next round. So that we're essentially starting on round 1 and not 0, right? And then on tick, we want to get all actors of class, and it's going to be the enemy, BP enemy that we created. We're going to get the linked array, and if it equals less, or if it equals 0, right, if the linked is 0, which essentially is the distance within the game, right, then branch we want to in the round or next round. we want to proceed to the next round, which is all going to be tied to the next round function there. And then after that, I'm going to print string, and I'm going to get round number so we can see what round we're currently on, right? So, alright, let's go over this. On begin play, we start the round at round 1 rather than round 0. Every tick, it checks the enemy class, and if there's any enemies within the range of the map, right, then it ends the round. And then it tells us how many rounds we've been through, or rather what current round number we're on. Okay. Pretty straightforward there, I would say. Okay, so now we need to go to next round, right? And in next round, we need to set the round number. Okay. You can do that, or you can just drag and drop set. And to set the round number, we need to get the current round number that we're on now. So when next round starts, we get the current round number, and we add 1. And that's the new round number. So for example, let's say we're on round 1, right? We kill all the enemies. They check, there's 0 enemies. The round ends. So now, when the round ends, this happens, right? It sets the current round number plus 1. So we would be 2, right? So 1 plus 1, 2. Which is what we want to happen. Okay. Now we want to set the enemies to spawn. Set enemies to spawn, right? And to do this, we need to get the base enemies to spawn, the increment factor, and the round number, right? Okay, so we're going to get a multiply, and we're going to get an add. Okay, so we're going to multiply the round number by the increment factor. Jeez. Alright. And then we're going to add the outcome of that to the base enemies to spawn, right? So, for example, let's set this to, let's say, 2. That'll be how many we want it to go up each round. Let's say each round we'll start the base enemies to spawn at 3. But keep in mind that Unreal Engine actually adds 1 to that. So, lower by 1 there. Okay? You'll see what I mean in a bit here. So that will actually be 3. 3 plus the sum of this, okay? So increment factor is 2 times, let's say we're on round 1. 2 times 1 is 2, okay? Plus the 3 that is here. I know it says 2, but it'll actually be 1 added to it. So 2 plus 3 equals 5. That will be the number of enemies that spawn. So let's say we're on round 2. 2 times 2 is 4 plus 3, that's 7. So it went up by 2 that round. And you can change that. You can play around with the values, the increment the factor right here, and the base enemies to spawn. If you want less to start out with, more to start it, or more or less to join the fight next round, you can mess with those two. The only one you won't have to mess with is the round number. And then right here, we are going to create a for loop, which is right there. And here, this is essentially telling us how many enemies we want to spawn. We're going to put get enemies to spawn. Put that right in there since we just set that right here. Can plug that in there. And then loop body. It's going to get all actors of class. We're going to get the enemy spawner this time, right? So we're calling to the enemy spawner. And as the enemy spawner, we need to spawn actor from class, right? The class is going to be the enemy. So it's calling to our enemy spawner, telling it to spawn the enemy. But it doesn't know where to spawn it, right? Where the enemy spawner's at, or how it wants to spawn it. So we need to tell it. We need to get random array item. We want it to go to a random one of our spawners, right? Because we don't all want them to come out of one. We'll put a couple different ones and have it random. And then we get actor transform right there. Plug that in. And I'm pretty sure that's all we got to do here. That's it. Let's test it out, right? Play. Oh, one vital key that didn't work there. The enemy. Oh, no, not the enemy. The enemy spawner. What I'm going to do is drag it in and then drag it up. And the reason I put dynamic mesh, right, is so that it'll fall. And we can actually see, because sometimes they'll spawn at the same spot and it'll just overlap itself, you know what I mean? In this case, it'll stack. So we can actually count and make sure it's doing its job right. Alright. Save that. Let's check, right? It should be 5 on this first one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Look at that. Because it was 1 on the level times the increment factor of 2. That's 2. 1 times 2 is 2. Correct? Alright. And then we add 2 to the base start, which was 3. And see how I'm saying it adds the 1 to it to make it that actual 5? So you gotta project a 1 ahead of time. Alright, now let's see if it's 7 on the next round, right? Because 2 times 2, oh shoot. Hold on, I'm gonna open my third person character. I'm gonna change this movement speed up to like 1500 so I can fly through fast enough. Alright. Whoa. Should be 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yep. Alright, should be 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yep. It's going up by 2. So let's get a little crazy with it, right? Just for experimental purposes. Next round, we're going to increment factor by, let's say, 10, right? 10. Save. Now let's play it. So it'll start 10 times 1. Woo! 10 times 1, the first level, is 10 plus 3. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Was that right? Or I believe so. But yeah, you see how it's working, right? And if you want to change this back to 2, so it'd only be 2 at the beginning, but we could change this to 9, which would be 10, right? When you start, it'll be 12. We should be looking at 12 here. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'll go over them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, yep, 12. But when I collect this next one, instead of going another 10 up, like it would with the increment factor at 10, it's only going to go up to 2. Only the first round had the 10 extra. So it'll be 14 instead of 22, if that makes sense. Yeah, I can't guarantee they all made it in here because they kind of bounce sometimes. But yeah, you guys get the hint. And there you have it. And watch as well. Let me clear it out. I don't think I pointed this out yet. Look in the top left, print string. This would be what, round 3 or 4? Round 3. So you can set up a UI or whatever to track your progress, so it permanently displays in the middle of the screen or whatnot. But that's another video for another time. Yeah, I don't think I got them all this time. I think one left the map. All right, guys, you know the drill. If you like the video and subscribe. Greatly appreciate it. And if you guys like this and you want to see anything similar to this, or whatever you're working on at the time and you're stuck, leave a comment. Let me know. I will create a video for it. This video itself is a result of that. Alright. Appreciate you guys. Peace.